Tutor Tech, project about teaching languages, learning, technology and how they co-evolve together. By where? App to collect and learn words you actually need.
I think it's important. It's so difficult to generalize because a lot depends, as I said before, on context. I think it's important for you to, as a teacher, to get to know who your learners are. That's the first thing I would do before thinking about, using technology or whatever. Who are your learners? What are they interested in? What do they do? What kind of technology do they use? Do they come to class with mobile phones, or do you have a policy where they're not able to use mobile phones, for example? What kind of things do you have in the classroom available to you? Can you bring things, if you don't have anything, can you bring things in from home? Can one of your students bring things in from home if you think it's worthwhile? So the more you get to know your students and your context and who they are as people, what they want out of life, out of education, out of learning the language, the better. So that's even before you bring the technology in. And then it's a case of, okay, what do we have access to? What would be useful to be able to use? The next thing I think for teachers to think about is that they shouldn't feel overwhelmed, or they shouldn't be forced into doing something that perhaps just because everyone else is doing it, they feel they should do it. So you shouldn't feel forced into using AI if you're not comfortable with it, if you don't like it, if you haven't the experience of using it. That said, I think that natural curiosity needs to be activated as a person in this world. I think you do need to, and you have a responsibility to your students, but also to yourself, to be curious and to investigate a little bit, to find colleagues who are using things like AI if it's not familiar to you, and get them to show you how to use it, to look for courses. There's certainly loads of courses online that are even free. To start using different apps, to have a play with them, to share what you use with other colleagues, because there's so much out there that it can feel overwhelming. But start small, follow your nose, try to listen to your students and see what kind of things that they use. Maybe you have a group of students who already are using a number of different apps, for example, to supplement the learning of the language that you're helping them with. Perhaps the other students would benefit from them sharing that. And if there's, 2 or 3 different apps being used by different students, you certainly then can have a conversation about which ones they prefer and why. And perhaps it could be a little project about going away and trying to find the one that suits that class or those students more than the other. Those kinds of things, really. I think it's best not to have a fixed idea about what to do. And then the third thing I think would be to always keep in mind this principles approach. So before you bring any technology into the classroom, you have to think about, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing it? Is this the best way of practicing or learning this language? Is it going to save time, or is it going to actually make me waste a lot of time setting it up or preparing something that is only going to be used for 20 minutes? Am I going to spend 2 hours planning on preparing this, and then we're not going to use much time in the classroom and for other classes? So, and if the answer is, well, actually, I don't think it's worth it, then don't use it. Don't use the technology. So that's, but if you think it through before you bring it into the classroom or start using it with students, then it will be much better.
Tutor Tech, project about teaching languages, learning, technology and how they co-evolve together. By where? App to collect and learn words you actually need.